when we're finished.
How many followers did you have before?
There was like 4,100 on there.
How many did you have before that?
120.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
You went from 120 followers to 4,100 followers?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm not joking.
How much did you pay for that?
It's like $30 for like a promotion thing. And then you end up with like 4,000 followers. I was like, what the heck is this? So I'm like I'm like freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like getting rid of all of this. It's like, it's just like it's just the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's the strangest thing. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's
costs... weird. So anytime you like go on Instagram and you're like like trying to promote, because I'm on there and I'm promoting our podcast.
Yeah.
And so anytime, like I'm working through like Jacksonville community, and so like they'll post our stuff or they'll mention us on their page.
I saw a post.
So like they'll mention us, but it's not, I'm not getting like crazy followers. So like I was doing that, and then like we would get like one or two, and it was like normal, you know? So I was like, okay. But then when I went through them, I was getting like all of these others that were like, hey, follow us. And so I went through one that seemed like it was kind of legit. And so like I paid to like promote like locally through Florida, and now I've got like crazy followers. I'm like, that's nuts. So I was kind of like freaked.
Just leave them. Just leave them.
There's like there's like 3,600 on there. It's crazy.
It'll push you into the algorithm because you got an influx of followers.
It's nuts.
We're buying followers. Her mom is.
I'm not trying.
He just bought 4,000 followers.
I got rid of like I was like, this people don't even have followers. Is crazy. So yeah.
Well, they're all bots.
Yeah,
they're not real people.
I know. That's why I'm getting rid of them. It's like nuts.
But maybe they'll use whoever's running the bots. They'll use the bots to watch the podcast.
Yeah.
It'll give us like 4,000.
But it has like so many pros and cons. Like I'm researching all of this stuff because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I'm old school. So I'm all about like self-promote, like getting into this. We've never done anything like this, right? I think we just surpassed a year that we've been doing our podcast.
Yeah. Round of applause.
1 year that we've done.
Oh no, there we go.
See, that's why. We're just like, oh my gosh. So 1 year that we have done the podcast. And so I was like, okay, you know, it's great because I was getting a few more followers just by us uploading the videos. I was doing it to my personal Instagram page and to the Tay and Tristan podcast page on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So I was updating that too. So it was just like, okay, you're getting normal followers. And so then I woke up today and there's like 4,000 followers. I was like, what in the world is this?
That's insane.
At
least you got something for your $30.
I did get something.
Even if they're fake.
Even
if they're bots, but still.
I was just like, wow.
You'd be amazed how many. I think like most of the people.
It's nuts.
Most of the people that are famous on the internet, they just buy followers. Like they'll spend thousands of dollars.
It made me wonder
to buy bot views and bot followers.
Yeah,
and they'll have bots like comment too. Like it's crazy.
I know. That made me wonder. Like people I follow, I'm like, are those real followers? I don't know. It made me kind of. It made me. I'm not saying that they are, but a
lot of them do that. They buy
followers. So I'm like, okay, I'll just leave the rest. It's still over 3,000 followers. It's like 3,600 on there.
on your page?
On mine.
Oh my God! You didn't even do it for the podcast page.
It's just.
What the heck? Why'd you put them on yours, on your personal one? That's crazy.
Because all of our podcast stuff is on my page.
No, you're getting greedy. That's what it is. You should have done it for the podcast page.
But the podcast page is being verified right now. So I have my page is verified, and so I'm paying for. I'm also verifying the podcast page.
This is a justification Because she just wants all the followers on her Instagram.
It's not. It's not. I don't even post anything personal of me on my page. Everything.
Yes, you do.
Well, everything that's on.
What are you talking about? Yes, you do.
Everything that's on my page is the podcast. Have you even been on my Instagram page?
Yeah, it's pictures of you.
No. Have you even looked at the Instagram page lately? Have you looked at anything on that page?
No.
Okay, so you need
Well, I saw that.
Do you pull up my Instagram page and look at what's on there? Everything on there is from the podcast. That's why we get a lot of views.
Oh no, this is, you don't have. Which Instagram are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Shantae B _46.
Yeah, you don't. Oh, I do see it. 3,600 followers. That's crazy.
And the because people like the content that's on there.
I see. So it is a lot of podcast clips.
Yeah, they're all podcast.
Yeah.
It's all podcast. And we have the other one that's the Tay and Tristan one that's our official.
Well, still, the Tay and Tristan only has 45 followers, and you have 3,600.
Because I have to do the other one, so that I'm updating both.
I think this is a bunch of bull crap.
I'm doing both. We're starting to get more views on the Tay and Tristan podcast one too, but I can only do so much. I don't know. It's not greed on my part. I don't know why you even said that.
Because the Instagram is your name. It's your name.
And it's all...
There's no links to the podcast.
There is. It's on. Yes, there is.
There is? That's what that was?
Well, you check. Oh, my gosh. He doesn't even check anything.
Well, because it's your... I wouldn't expect you to put it on your page is all.
Do you not... Oh, wow. I can't believe...
Okay, no, yeah, I see.
All of the links to our podcast are on my page.
Yeah, I see it.
I had to put them on the page because we hadn't done the Tay and Tristan page for the podcast on Instagram yet.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But
wow.
It's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh my gosh!
I'm glad you got your 3,600 followers.
Don't worry, I'll do it. I'll do it for the other. I'll buy them for the other page too if you want me to buy them.
No, I mean you don't have to. You don't have to do that.
Wow! All I post is our content on my page because I am not that interesting of a person. I don't have that much of an interesting life to where I could gain 3,600 followers on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. I'll be honest about that.
Yeah.
My life is not that exciting.
Well, that's why a lot of girls get into OnlyFans.
I don't do no damn OnlyFans.
I'm saying, but there's a lot of women.
Why would I do that?
No, I'm not saying. No, I'm not saying you. Oh my God. I'm just saying, what a lot of women do is they'll start an OnlyFans and they won't even be doing anything sexual on there at all. But people will pay like just to see them in like a bikini.
Yeah,
or to see a picture of their feet.
Yeah, they do. It's weird.
And they're making like tens of thousands of dollars.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
But it's lonely people out there.
No, that's a good
I'm talking about the people that are paying for it are some lonely people. Or they got some very strange fetishes.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I mean, come on.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? This is just a side, whatever. But the new episode or the new season of Black Mirror came out.
Yeah.
Recently. If you don't know what it is, it's basically like the modern day Twilight Zone. But each episode is almost like a movie. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And there was this one episode where this lady dies. I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil it. So there's this married couple. The wife passes out in school. She's like a teacher. And she basically was brain dead. But they have this new technology that will bring you back to life. But you have to pay a subscription. It's like a subscription service for it. And it's almost like cell phone service, where like if you go outside of the coverage area, you die. And when
Oh
you
my
and when you
gosh.
drive back into the coverage zone, then you like your thing starts working again like a cell phone.
Oh
Um,
my.
but it's kind of like a parallel to like subscription services and medical debt and stuff like that is kind of the
Wow.
commentary that they're trying to have. But they kept having to raise their subscription tier because it kept like you know how they do they raise the prices of a
Right.
like
Yes.
whatever it's if it's a streaming service or whatever it is. Um and basically
Crazy.
the guy was working so much overtime they just couldn't afford to pay for it all, so he went on to this website called in the show it was called Dumb Dummies was the name of the website. And it's basically where you go on there and just do something crazy to yourself and people pay like to watch you do it. So like there was a guy on there that was like pulling his teeth out for money or drinking pee for money or putting a rat trap on his tongue and people would pay him. So I'm saying that's probably a real thing in real life that people do, like on the dark web or something. But yeah,
I believe it.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I believe that.
people
Yes.
will do crazy things for money.
They absolutely will. Yes, I believe
know?
that. Yes.
Even if it's degrading themselves.
Yeah, they will.
If you're desperate enough, you'll do anything. Or some people will do anything.
Some people will do anything for money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that episode was messed up.
I haven't watched it. I watched it like years ago when you told me about it when it first came out because I love the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's basically a modern
day
Twilight
Twilight
Zone,
Zone,
basically.
or like an Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I love those.
Yeah,
But-
it's sort of like that.
But yeah, nah.
What
I
do you
don't
mean?
know. I don't watch. I like true crime. That's cool.
Yeah, it's all you watch is murder, death, kill
Murder, death, kill.
stuff.
Reminds me of Demolition Man. Murder, death, kill.
But I'm not gonna lie, I've been getting into that lately too. For whatever
We
reason.
finally got our television up in our studio, or slash bedroom slash office slash studio. And yeah, so I'm excited. So now I really don't have to leave my woman cave.
Oh
in
my
here.
god, a woman cave.
My woman
Are
cave.
you serious?
Yes. I work in here during
Mhm.
the week. I have my whole setup with my monitors and my laptop. And I've got my futon in here. So if I'm tired, sometimes I take naps.
Yeah, you took a 3-hour nap earlier, which is not a nap.
What constitutes a nap? We
I
were
told
talking
you.
about that earlier.
I've had this debate with other people. If you're you don't take a nap for 3 hours. You're just going to sleep. The sleep cycle lasts 90 minutes. There's 5 stages, and it lasts 90 minutes. If you're going through that at least one time, you're just going to sleep. A nap is like half an hour. Maybe an hour. Maybe an
I
hour.
can see that. Yeah.
Maybe an hour at the most. But past that, you're just going to sleep.
Okay.
It's a different thing.
Well, then I went to sleep today.
Yeah.
I went to sleep after church today. Yes, I did. I was tired, man. Church wears you out. Like a black church wears you out.
Yeah. It's a lot of energy.
Our church did. We had Bible study at 9:30 this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and then which was great. And then we had service at 10:45, which was great.
Yeah.
And Holy Spirit, man, fills you with energy, and then it's like a sugar rush. Like
Yeah, you have
just
a
get filled with
crash.
that, and then you come home, and then you're like, woo! It's like, it's kind of just, yeah, it was great. We felt refreshed and renewed, and then I got home and I sat outside and I was going through my Instagram. I was like, who is that? Bloop. Who is that? Bloop. And then I was like, I'm just tired. I'm just going to leave it. And then, yeah. And then I sat in the house and I was like, I was like on my phone and I was nodding off.
Yeah.
That's how I think I know I'm getting older, because I remember watching like my grandparents. Like, I'm not that old yet, but I know I'm getting older because I sit and I nod off.
You never did that when you were younger? I
Maybe
mean,
when I was a baby, but not
you
when
were
I
a
was
baby.
not whenever I was like in my 20s and 30s. No.
Never. You
No.
never. So you never were sleepy. What are you
I
talking
wouldn't
about?
sit up and nod off when I would be on my phone.
Well, you didn't have phones back then.
I'm not. It's not that long ago. Yes, we did. We did have phones.
You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying.
I had like the one of the not the big clunky ones, but
Yeah.
like the handheld
Mm-hmm.
Motorola.
Yeah.
Motorola. But
Yeah.
I'm getting older. Think about it. I'm gonna be 48 this year. I'm gonna be 48 in August.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
48.
I got a small cataract. I had my eye exam Saturday.
Oh my God, she's blind.
I'm
So
not
she's going blind, I think. So we were mounting this TV on the wall, right? And you have to put like this bracket thing on the wall
Not
at
true.
first, and it's what it's what the bracket on the back of the TV hangs on. And she was putting it up on the wall, like trying to make it straight. And she was like holding it like it was literally like this. It was this crooked, and she was like, "That's straight, ain't it? Yeah, that's straight." I was like, "No, Mom, do this. Put it like this." And she looks at it, and she's like, "No, that's crooked, Tristan. What are you talking about? That's crooked." I was like, "No, that's literally straight." And then you moved it back down and made it crooked again, and you're like, "Now it's
did.
straight." I'm like, "Oh my
Because
goodness!"
the way I was looking at it, I was like, "That is not straight." I was like, "That is."
It was like clearly crooked, and she couldn't see it.
And remind you, I had my glasses on.
Yeah. I was like shocked. I was like, she actually thinks that's straight?
Yes, I
This
did.
is a problem. I mean, my goodness. I don't have the best eyes either, but I could clearly see that
You
that
guys were-
was crooked.
You guys were standing further away. I was not.
You still,
You guys were standing further away.
you still should. I understand that, but you still should have been able to tell that it was crooked.
I
'cause
couldn't.
it
I was
so
like, no,
obvious.
it's not. I was even trying to stand back like that. I
Yeah.
was like, no, that's not right. Yeah, I have a very, very, very small cataract. It was so funny because when I was in for my exam yesterday, my eye doctor, she was like, why are you struggling to see something out of your left eye? Like, it didn't matter which way she flipped the letters on the thing. I was like, neither one of those looks better.
Yeah.
And she was like, why? She kept sitting there thinking to herself. She's like, why is she struggling with her left eye? And then she looked. She's like, oh, because you have a cataract there.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, it's slow growing. She was like, in 20 years, you'll need surgery. I was like, oh, that's great when I'm in my 60s. So
Well,
Makes sense,
Why
makes
don't you just go ahead and get it knocked out now?
because she said it's small. And it's
Yeah, but why
fine.
let it get big? That's like,
I
oh, you
know.
have a tumor in your brain. Just let it get
That's
big.
just
Just
what
let
the-
it get the size of a pumpkin. And
She
then,
was like, so whenever other people, she's like, in your right eye, like it's clear, like you can see clear, right? And then she's like, on your left, she was like, it looks like it's like covered with milk.
mm,
Yeah. So that's why, like, at night, it looks blurred. Like if light is shining on the road, that sometimes I'm like, is that a line or not? Like
Yeah.
So I pretty much am gonna have like some night blindness. Probably.
you need to get
It'd be
those
hard.
night. You need to get those night driving glasses. That's what you need. It
I
almost
can't
it almost
afford it.
makes it look like. Well, I'm sure they have cheaper ones that you can just buy. You know.
I couldn't even afford to get my freaking everything's so high. I couldn't even afford to get my prescription sunglasses, and I found the cutest rose gold Oscar pink.
De La Hoya. Oh.
Oscar
What was it? What was the
De
brand?
La Renta.
Oh.
Glasses, like they were cat eye glasses. Oh, they would have been so cute.
Cat eye. What does that
They were
mean?
like cat style eye, like glass. They were very, very cute. Yeah, they were so cute. And I have 30 days though to go back and get them, and they were on sale,
Mhm.
so I got to go back and get them. But yeah, I just got some different frames. They're cute.
Do they prescribe marijuana for cataracts, or is that only glaucoma?
No, even if they did, I think glaucoma.
I know they do it for glaucoma, but I
I
wasn't
don't
sure
think
if
they do it for cataracts. You gotta get cataracts taken off your eye.
Oh,
But yeah, they just get worse over time.
yeah.
So I'm like, wow, that's official. I'm officially old. The moment they tell you cataract, Yeah, you're old.
Well,
I'm moving. I'm slowly moving into the stage. So here's what's happening with me. I'm kind of like off balance. So like I in one area of my life I'm beginning to get a little bit healthier. So like I'm losing weight, I'm exercising, I'm getting a little bit more flexibility because I'm doing some yoga exercises. But then and I'm walking, but and then on the other side, it's like other parts of my body are breaking down. Eyesight.
You gotta eat your carrots. That's all.
I don't like carrots. I bought a bag of carrots and they're probably bad. They've been in the refrigerator forever.
There are
I don't even eat them.
There are supplements and stuff that you can take that improve eyesight.
I take a daily vitamin.
I know, but I'm saying there are
Multivitamin.
Supplements that are specifically help you with your eyesight.
I know, but I don't.
You should look into that.
I should. But
because if you couldn't tell that was crooked, you have a serious problem, and you need something.
I don't think that has anything to do with like my eyesight.
It obviously does. That's literally the sense that you use to tell if things are crooked or not, and yours was off. That's all I'm saying.
We had a little level thing in there. All you had to do was put that on there.
You wouldn't have been able to see that either, probably.
Oh my gosh, whatever.
I'm just saying.
They were yelling at me.
Oh my god, no.
They were yelling at me. Oh, and then, oh my gosh. So it was 9:00 last night. And we were supposed to be putting this up earlier in the day. But everybody was at the store. We all did our thing. And then Tristan's playing his video games as usual. And so I'm like, Tristan, get up. We need to go put this on the wall. We were supposed to do it today. And he's like, I don't want to play my game. I had to make him get up. I was like, no, because I'm his mother. So I was like, no, get up. We're doing it now. Why does Johnny and your grandmother all come to the prince's rescue? And it's like, he's tired. He doesn't need to do this. Do you even feel like doing this, Tristan? I know you're tired. You work. It's like, hold up. Wait a minute.
They were just kidding.
After everything that I do for this family and everything, it doesn't matter. I got to drop what I'm doing for everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I'm not tired. The least you could have done, which you did do, was get up without everybody just, oh my gosh, are you okay?
Well, that wasn't my fault. I didn't
Without
ask
anybody
him to do that.
powdering your butt.
I didn't ask for that at all.
And then here's Tristan with his kind of standing off to the side of everybody and his back turned to him, just cheesing from ear to ear, just like, yeah, I got it like that.
Well,
I was like, be quiet, just put this TV up. And then Johnny said that I sounded like the meanest mother ever because I was like, I don't care how you feel, put this TV up on the wall.
But to be honest, I would have rather we had done it earlier in the day. I mean, it was 9:00.
Tristan, stay up until 2:00 in the morning.
That's not the point. For me,
I don't care.
For me, after a certain time of night, I'm like, oh, the night's over. Nothing else is happening. Nothing nothing has to be done past this time of night, right? So
I get it.
Yeah, so that's
all you had to do was say, "Hey."
So I just assumed like, oh, we'll do it tomorrow or another day or something.
See, this is where we need to communicate better because all you had to do was say, "Hey, Mom, are you ready to get the TV up?" I was right in the living room.
Well, no, I wasn't gonna do that. I was gonna wait for you to ask me to do it.
That's no. That's not how this works. So you knew that we had to do it.
I knew that I had to do it whenever you were going to ask me
to. No, because you already knew it had to be done.
But it was 9:00 again. My brain shuts off certain activities.
So you needed to be like, come on, Mom, we need to get this done because I'm done at 9:00. And that's all you had to do. That's called accountability.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Accountability.
Come on, man.
You shouldn't have went to sleep. That was your fault.
No, your mother's getting older, so you should have been like, Mom, come on, I'm going to put this TV up for you. That's called loving your mother.
Oh, my God.
And just being respectful and accountable.
What?
That's what that's called.
Oh, my God. That is So ridiculous.
No, it's
but
not.
it doesn't matter. We got it done.
Yeah.
We got it done anyway.
But I'm just telling everybody, this is what life is like with Tristan.
What do you mean?
In my house. And how everybody's like, oh, are you sure you're not? Oh, poor Tristan. I was like, get up now. I kicked him out of the bed. I was like, I kicked your feet. I was like, get up right now. Yeah, you're going to do it. And you were fine.
Well, of course.
I know.
I wasn't feeding into it.
Oh, no, you weren't. And then he was just like under his breath. He was like, I'm fine.
Well, it was just funny. It was funny.
Oh, and then here I am. I have Mom and Johnny on me. And I was like, he's fine.
Well, Johnny was just joking, but Grandma was serious.
I know. He kept feeding into. He kept it going for Mom.
I know.
And I never hear the end of it from her when it comes to you anyway. So,
well,
you are her child, not mine. You look like her, not me.
What?
No, that's what she always says. Well, no, he looks like me. He don't look like you. No, I never gave birth to you.
That's funny.
She does that all the time. She does.
Yeah.
Well, he should be mine. No, he's not yours. He's mine. Jeez.
Oh, what can you do?
Nothing. Just love her anyway.
Yeah.
And be blessed. That's all.
So, that's all you can do.
So that's how the weekend has been so far. But my gosh. It's just been crazy.
Yeah.
That's been my adventures this weekend so far. So.
Yeah.
And then I got to go to the dentist tomorrow. So that's fun.
Yeah. I need to make a dentist appointment.
At 8 a.m.
At some point.
I don't know why I made an early morning appointment. I'm crazy.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Because I wanted to get it over with. And I have a meeting later. So, yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know why I did that.
Oh, well. So we're going to segue. This is a hard right turn.
Very hard right turn. I don't know any other way to segue into it, but just stop talking.
We're going to segue into a pretty serious topic, a pretty serious thing that happened a couple weeks ago or whenever it was. And a topic that's been on fire on X or Twitter. So I guess I'll just say what happened. So, do you know what day it was that this happened?
I think it was like around April 2nd or so. It was like at the beginning of April.
Yeah.
This was probably like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so like a couple weeks ago, there was an incident at a track meet where a white student was stabbed to death by a black student. And we're going to get into all the nuances and complexities of the situation. But yeah, basically the Carmelo Anthony, who was the black kid, was sitting under a tent. It had started raining apparently, so he was sitting under a tent, but it was a tent of like a rival school or a different school that was attending the track meet. And then the white kid, what was his name?
Austin Metcalf.
Yeah, Austin Metcalf. He went up to Carmelo and said, "Hey, you need to move. Like, you don't attend this school. You don't go here. So, leave." He wanted him to get out from under the tent. And then Anthony, I guess, pulled out a knife and said, "Make me," or he said something to that effect. And then I guess, and this is just all from what I'm hearing and what I've read. Obviously, I don't know exactly what happened. But I guess apparently, Metcalf tried to remove him from the tent physically. And then Carmelo Anthony stabbed the kid in the chest. Mm-hmm. And he died.
Yeah. So
this has been like a huge contentious topic that people have been talking about on the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. What do you think about this whole thing?
I mean it's definitely sad for sure. just from what I read, and I had to kind of read up on. I had heard about it, just kind of like in passing and scrolling and on television, but not really dug into the story. Um, you know, it's very sad. The fact that he was a twin, and that I did read that like, his brother tried to stop the bleeding, and that he died in his arms. Very sad.
That's tragic.
It's a tragic story on both ends. These are two young men promising, I'm sure, college careers, promising, could have led athletes, very good athletes. And it's one of those things that was an avoidable situation.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, it was a petty argument that just escalated way too far
to something extremely tragic. From what I read too, just like right before our podcast, is like I know that Anthony was, Carmelo Anthony was remorseful from what I read. Reports, from the arresting officer and people that were around, eyewitnesses, that, he didn't know that he had killed Metcalf. And that he, was asking how he was after it happened. He did admit to it, that it happened. I mean, you can't deny something when there's witnesses around like that. I just, it's tragic. It's sad. It's not something that needed to happen.
I don't know.
And what more can you say? It's a petty argument that ended extremely tragic.
Yeah.
But
I think what's really tragic from this is the people talking about it, and people. So there's two sides of this. There's people on one side who are saying that, see, these black kids are animals and they need to be, whatever they're saying. Then there's another side that's saying, yeah, this is like, we're glad this kid died. Like, he probably deserved it.
Yeah.
And there's two sides of this. That's like the really tragic part, is that it's created this total like division, and people arguing back and forth, instead of just focusing on like why this or the loss, why this happened, and trying to prevent it from happening. Again,
Exactly. And like, why didn't anybody else step in? Like, I'm not talking about adults, but I'm just talking about like the teammates. Just be like, hey man, just just go, just like, or just, I mean, there's other ways. I mean, I don't think nobody deserves to be killed. Okay, there's just not like that. And if nobody deserves to die, nobody has the right to judge other people and say, oh, this person deserved to die. Because how would you feel if somebody said that about you? I don't think people think that far.
No.
They don't. Whether or not somebody likes another person's personality, or I've heard people say, well, he was a bully, and people are saying those things on social media. People can have their opinions. We all have the right to say what we want to say, but there's power in the tongue, as they say, and there's power in people's words, and you have to be careful about what you say and how you say it, because this is what causes hate and division. And in the middle of all this, all of the hate is most of it is going to go towards the person who committed the crime. But then there's, like you said, there's also a side. It may not be as many people that are going to go towards, well, if this guy was a bully, you shouldn't have went up to him like that. He just got what he deserved. I don't believe that. It's just a petty fight. Get up out of this seat and leave, and then he's like, we'll see what happens. And I mean, he was defensive for a reason. I don't know. I asked the question, it's like, why do you have a weapon on you? There's a lot of questions. Was it necessary to carry that to attract meat? We don't know the answers to that. and we ain't gonna know till he goes to trial. Okay. He claims self-defense. But I don't know. I don't know enough about the whole thing. Is we don't know these people personally.
Mm-mm.
We don't know both of these young men's personalities.
Yeah.
We don't. We are just hearing. We're basing our judgments based off of what we are learning in the media and on social media. There's a lot of false narratives on there.
That there is.
We don't know. So I mean, from what I've heard on both, they were both good students. They were both. No, I mean, neither one had a criminal record.
Yeah.
It's a fight gone bad, and people take and it does. Things like this happen all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. But see, there's a lot of people that are shielded from that reality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they don't understand that this happens all the time, every day.
Yeah.
And people make it out to be a lot more because they like chaos.
Well, I don't think it's it's that, but it's also that one of them was black and one of them was white.
Yes.
It just makes the story bigger, and it turns it into a freaking race war.
It does.
is what it's become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It sensationalizes it.
Yeah.
It does. And it doesn't need to be. That's what drives me crazy about it. At the end of the day, these are two people's lives who have changed. It's at the end of the day, it's a family's lives that have been changed.
Mm-hmm.
One family has lost someone forever.
Mm-hmm.
And another family's probably going to lose. He'll still be alive, but
they might lose him.
He's not going to be coming home.
Yeah.
And he'll probably end up spending the rest of his life, or the biggest majority of his life, in prison.
Yeah. Well, I guess, but I guess that depends on if they rule it as self-defense or not.
It's all going to depend on that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. That's gonna be based off of eyewitness reports. If people are corroborating those eyewitness reports, that's gonna depend on if people are gonna be truthful in their reports as well.
Well, apparently, I think there is actually video of it.
Okay.
I think I don't know if that's even true. I just read
That's what I'm saying.
I just read it. I just read somebody posted on Twitter that the police have the footage of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess that'll tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Of what actually happened.
And there might be footage of it. You
Yeah.
know? I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, oh gosh. I sometimes am grateful for the internet and cameras, and sometimes I'm not, because it's just you just don't know what is true anymore and what's not.
Yeah, especially with like AI and stuff. Now you never know what's true.
It's so hard.
And what's fake.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
People will say anything.
Yeah.
To just get
views.
To get views.
Clicks.
To get views and clicks.
Yeah.
And just like I bought my followers. Yeah. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, it's just like but this is one of those stories. It's just like, my gosh, the loss of the tragedy of this is gonna get lost in the noise of what people are saying.
Yeah.
And the division. And it's sad.
It is.
Because two people who had their entire life ahead of them is gone.
Yeah.
That's the tragedy of it.
Yeah, I don't think there would be really any of this kind of discourse happening, if you could even call it that. But I don't think any of this would be happening if both of them are white, or if both of them were black.
It wouldn't.
People would not be talking about it like this.
It wouldn't. No. But this is how it has been for the longest time. Anytime it is a black on white crime, it's always, there's the racial component.
Yeah.
There's the racism of it. And people are like, well, there's no more racism. Yes, there is. It's more prevalent today than it has probably ever been.
Yeah, for sure.
And um and people want to sweep it under the rug and nobody talks about it. That's why it's still here. And people are like, well, if you keep talking about it, it's always going to be there. It's always been there.
Yeah.
It's under, that's what kills me about the world that we live in now. So you think if you don't talk about it, that it's just going to go away? No, honey, it exists in all forms. They are trying to whitewash everything, our leaders, everything. And people are like, well, if you don't talk about it, it's not. So what, in your world, it's not real.
Yeah.
Certain races, like with white people, or maybe a lot of people that don't experience it, but with black people, it's very, very, very real.
Yeah.
Because we've lived it. Okay. But I think sometimes whenever discrimination happens to people of a race that it doesn't usually happen to, they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Oh my gosh. A perfect example of this is like, or when things get taken away from people, kind of like what's happened in the political landscape a little bit. And like these kind of like this hands off riots that kind of happened, or the protests, not riots, but protests that happened. I think they were not saying there weren't black people that didn't participate or do it, but a lot of people, they were just like, no, we don't really care.
Yeah.
I think because we have either not had access to there's a lot of people in the black community, maybe Hispanic community, that don't have access to a lot of things, or we have had things taken away.
Yeah.
So when it happens to people whether it's happened to white people that have always had things, and their things are kind of being threatened or taken away, they don't really know how to handle it.
Yeah, they go crazy.
They go crazy and they're mad and they're like, oh my gosh, what?
Yeah.
Honey, we have had to deal with that for a long time and we make do. So I think whenever any type of like crime or anything where somebody black is being that has committed a crime, it's the families know how to kind of deal with it. But it goes back to like the white person's the victim, the black. This is why I've always told,
like no matter what the real situation.
no matter what that's the end result, right? So people are looking at the end result.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a side in this, just to be very, very clear, but I'm just saying like that's the end result, right? Like that's the black person killed the white person. White person's the victim, black person's the criminal. It does, the details of what happened don't matter at this point. It's not. People have made their mind up.
Yeah.
A lot of people have. The how it happened or why it happened or who instigated it, those details are going to get all muddied up.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess the big question is whether it was self-defense or not.
Yes.
But I do kind of agree that even if it's proven 100% that he was defending himself and he defended himself in a proportionate manner, people will still call him a criminal and call him a murderer. Like, like you said, a lot of people have just made their mind up.
Yeah, they've made up their mind.
Yeah.
Already. It won't matter. They'll find a reason. It's still a mark on the rest of his life. Like his life will be like, even if he doesn't get a long sentence, he'll still have to do time for something because he committed a crime, which he should. But, and he admitted to it. But it's just still he will not get opportunities like he would have before.
No.
He just won't.
Not at all.
So, his life is
changed forever.
Absolutely.
From a split-second decision.
For a split-second decision. That's why I always tell people, like, you need to freaking think before we respond and react. Like, even if somebody's coming at you, like, if I could see, like, if somebody's coming at you with the weapon, then you have every right to defend yourself. And I don't think he was coming at him with a weapon. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But you have a right to defend yourself, but you do not have to take action and do bodily harm.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. It's like when you get into this, it also depends on what state you're in.
Yes.
The laws of your state. Texas, this happened in
Texas, yes.
I'm pretty sure Texas is a stand your ground state.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes. I think it is. I don't know.
I'm assuming it is. It's Texas.
I don't know, but Texas has got some weird laws. I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
Like Florida is a stand your ground. Florida is a stand your ground state.
Texas has a stand your ground law.
Right. So if it's a stand your ground law, but he was still charged with murder.
Yeah. Well, yeah. At this point, yeah.
He's charged with murder. So,
but it's interesting because there's a lot of states, the states that don't have a stand your ground law. You have what's it called? Not a right to you. Your first option should be to leave. To run away. I don't remember exactly the terminology or whatever.
There's a legal term for it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was just listening to somebody talk about it earlier too, and I can't remember.
But you also, you have the right to defend yourself from other people if they're causing you harm. If they intend to, there's like an intent to cause harm or whatever it is. There's legal jargon for that.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll have a right to it. And I'm sure they'll find there's all kinds of legal loopholes, right?
Yeah.
So we were also talking about kind of like how they were trying to gather money for Carmelo Anthony's legal defense, right? And to kind of help out his family. And so GoFundMe will not, they took down the page for him because they do not, I wrote it down because I couldn't remember everything they said. And this was coming from the Austin American Statesman paper. And so they said on GoFundMe that it prohibits fundraisers for the legal defense of violent crime. So anybody who is charged with murder or any other, or like rape or any other sort of violent crime, GoFundMe will not allow you to raise money for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Which,
yeah,
I definitely could understand why in a sense, just because they have to have kind of their policies and their limits that they have to follow, right? So I mean, otherwise you could raise money. It's like enabling and supporting.
Yeah, exactly.
Violent behavior.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people being upset at that and thinking that it's racist or whatever. But it's just it would have been the same if the roles were reversed. Like,
right.
If you're charged with a violent crime, that's just their policy. Like, you can't. They're not gonna help you raise money for your defense. It doesn't matter who you are.
Right. It won't matter. And it's not, and that's not anything that's racial. That is just anybody who is committing any sort of violent defense.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, it makes sense.
Perfect sense. And I actually agree with that. I don't have any problem with that. So what they did was they also went and they tried to do a second campaign for his legal defense, and that page was also taken down. And I can't remember when I read this through their local paper in Austin if it was actually through GoFundMe again, because they may have tried it again, but it didn't state if it was through them or not. So then they went through, this was the third campaign that they've done, and this is through Give, Send, Go. I've never heard of it.
I saw that I saw that in the screenshot. I'd never heard of it either.
I've never heard of that. So it's through Give, Send, Go, and it was still live on Friday. And this is for and it claims to be created by the Anthony family. So I don't know if they're stating that if somebody else created this, and but they're saying that the Anthony family has created this. I don't know if this is true or not. And that it's raised more than $350,000 as of Friday morning,
which is crazy.
Which is a crazy amount.
So much money.
It's a crazy amount of money, for his legal defense. So I mean, it's not, and I'm not campaigning and telling people to give. No. I'm just stating facts. But because there were campaigns where like they were trying to raise money for his legal defense, because of course he is pleading. He's guilty. He's been charged with murder. I'm not saying he's guilty. He admitted to the crime. He was charged with murder. But, he's 17 years old. I'm sure they do not want a public defender
No, of course not.
defending him in a murder case. So, of course, I think any parent would want that if their child is put in a position like this, that they're going to want to try to raise money.
Yeah.
But you can't go through GoFundMe, so you're going to try to do anything you can to raise money for your child's legal defense. I think any parent would do that.
Yeah, of course.
So that's an insane amount of money.
It is.
That could get you a very good lawyer, defense lawyer.
Yeah, and I saw a ton of people that were extremely mad about that and saying that like it was immoral and like you're supporting a murderer. And it's like, again, those are the people that have their minds made up. It's like, why don't we just wait for the actual facts
to come out? Yeah,
to come out before you make a decision.
Well, people
and
aren't
decide if this is immoral or not. Like,
well, people aren't making a decision; they're making a judgment. That's the difference, right? So you're already prejudging. That's what I'm saying. You've already got your mind made up. You're guilty, guilty, guilty. Well, he already said that he was guilty. You're not listening to the facts of what happened. So everybody has due process. Everybody has the right to a trial.
Yeah.
Everybody, they have their rights. You can't just be like, okay, you killed, boom, you're going to prison. Everybody has the right. It would be one thing if he was like, well, no, I didn't do nothing, and it's right, and then the fact that he wanted to know if he was okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there was an intent I don't know if there was an intent to kill him. I don't know if that was. I don't know the guy's state of mind. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But there is we'll know more if once, like you said, the facts come out and there's trial. And then you can also tell if they televise the trial. You can always tell by somebody's demeanor. You can tell by their body language. You can tell by the look in their eyes. If they're truly sorry for what they did or if they had intent to do it. Yeah. You can always tell because I watch a lot of true crime. And I'm a psychology nerd. But yeah, you can always tell that. Yeah. So I think his family has the right to raise money, just like they have raised a ton of money for the victim's family to help with funeral expenses and to help the family. It goes both ways. I don't think it should be, you can raise money for the victim and to help their family, but you can't raise money for the family for his defense. Yeah. You can't have your cake and eat it too, man. You can't be like, oh, one gets something and then the other doesn't because they committed a crime. It should be fair. I understand what he did, that he took another life, but I do believe that he still has the right to have he lives in the United States of America, and we have the right to due process, and he has the right to a fair trial.
Absolutely.
He does. We don't live in a third world country. No. So, and he has the right, his family has the right to raise money for him to have a good lawyer and a good defense. Yeah. So.
One thing I saw that was happening, and this always happens anytime, this is the thing that's particularly happened with like black people that are killed by police, is that they'll start going through their social media and they'll find like pictures from the past or things that they did in the past or whatever. And I guess he was like, Carmelo was in like a picture with some other people that were like holding guns or something. Do you think that should have an impact? Like,
what do you mean?
On the What do you mean? What do you mean, Brian?
What are you talking about?
I'm saying like people went back and found pictures, like they did this with George Floyd too. Okay. Where they dig into your past. Yeah. And see like, what kind of person you are. I guess.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. To try to find like a hook and say, see, this is why. Yeah. He has a criminal past. He has a criminal mentality. Yeah. So this is just in him, and this is why he did what he did. Right. Yeah. And so they kind of try to paint the picture of
that he's like
he
this
is
hardened
this hardened criminal and
yeah.
gang member, and because they want to scare people, and that's the same thing. Like, who can't own a gun?
Exactly.
This is the United States of America. He's not a criminal. He didn't have a criminal history. Yeah, I mean, people have guns to hunt and go do whatever they want to do, and they're given guns to go target shooting, and I mean, what does that mean? But there's always the stereotype that young black men with guns are gang members.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any young black man with a gun will ever outlive that stereotype or that trope ever. And they will always be synonymous with each other, even though it's not the reality most of the time.
Yeah.
But with a white man with a gun is just a deer hunter.
Yeah.
They're
just a patriot.
They're a patriot.
Yeah.
And that's the bias in this country. And it will always be that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it will always be that way.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people from this just talking about black men in general, calling young black men monsters, and they're the most violent group of people, and it's like,
how does that make you feel? Because you are 24 years old, you are a young black man, half black, but I still consider you a black man. But I mean, how does that make you feel? Because you still would be considered to be in that category.
Yeah, well, I just think it's ridiculous to. I just think it's ridiculous to, draw that conclusion from this situation. Even though, yeah, obviously, it was a young black male that stabbed someone.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that he's a predator or something like that. It's like it's the same kind of jargon that Biden was using in the 90s for the crime bill.
Super predator.
Yeah, they were calling black people super predators and stuff, and it's like, even if he was, one person doesn't define an entire group of people.
Right.
I mean, of course there's young black males that are violent people. There's violent people across all races.
Yes, very true.
You know? So it's like, I don't know. I don't think that's right to say that.
No, I know. I agree. It's not. No. Yeah. And I remember that. You did call them super predators.
Yeah.
You're, just, and it is to cause that division and that fear in people.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're saying it to justify, you should be justified in your fear of these people.
Yes.
Or your hatred of these people.
Yes. Yep. And then to talk or treat them any kind of way.
Yeah.
And it's not true. It's so not true. And it's not to say that there aren't people, and you're right, there's hatred, there's evil among, I mean, you look at most of the serial killers in this country were all white men.
Yeah.
It's not, very rarely
serial killer school shooters
are white men.
There was one black one recently.
There's one black, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had the DC sniper that was black. We were like, damn. But I mean, yes, but primarily they are white men, middle-aged white men. But yeah, I mean, but that's something that's not really, it's not front page. You know what I mean? It's not it's something that's swept under the rug.
Yeah.
A lot in American history. And oh, okay, well, yeah, that serial killer is okay. You had a white man that was eating people, that was eating black men.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, so I mean, I think that there is, and that's who people should, that you need to be a little bit leery of a little bit.
Yeah,
You know,
for
so
sure.
I think the whole point of this is just that, you know, it's not so much about. I think the racism part is always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It has been since the beginning of time, but it's more about when we, especially, you know, going back to what happened with these two young men, is, you know, there's just two lives that are completely changed. Like I said, one life is lost and gone, and a family is mourning.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do, when you break it down, it has nothing to do with color.
Yeah, no.
There are people making it about that.
Yeah.
These are two people that fought.
Yeah. And again, if
I don't want you over here. Even if it was, even if that there's nothing in saying it like he said this word or that word or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It is just, I don't want you over here. You need to move. Well, try to make me move. That's an ego thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not anything racial, but people make it racial because it was one person was black and one was white, and it has
Exactly.
nothing to do with that. And that's what is so frustrating.
Yeah.
Because it that's not what it is. It's like it's a pissing contest.
Exactly.
Between two men, two teenage boys.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And
Each trying to show how tough
they were. And then one and
it just ends in
it
tragedy.
escalated to something it didn't need to be. And then people on social media with their hate and their chaos and their own insecurities and being behind a computer and their phone just want to talk mess.
Mm-hmm.
And spread their ugliness. That's what people like to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't post. I post our podcast stuff. I don't post anything because
people are just so inflammatory now.
they really are.
You know.
People love chaos.
Yeah.
They are addicted to it. And it gives them something in their life to live for.
Yeah, it gives people something to stand for.
I don't even know if it gives them something to stand for.
I'm saying at least they feel like that, at least.
It gives them this false sense that they are important, I think. I don't know. I think that some people just like to stir something.
Yeah.
Because they're not standing for anything if they're stirring chaos. You're not taking a stand for anything if you're spreading hate.
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish? You're not accomplishing anything. I agree with you that people.
Well,
are
I guess
inflammatory.
what they would be accomplishing is the whole fight. You know, there's people that, and I'm sure a lot of this too is because a lot of these huge arguments that get started on the internet aren't even started by real people. They're started by people with bots who are saying inflammatory things about one side or the other, and then people see that and people start commenting, and then it just starts this storm. You know, that's impossible.
But then they start attacking each other.
Yeah.
People start they get away from the topic. And then they start attacking each other personally. I have read comments on social media and I'm like, wow, you guys are don't even know each other.
Yeah.
In completely different states or from different countries. And you're saying the most vile things to each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way I'll comment on this. I'll comment on a celebrity's page where I know they're never going to comment back.
Yeah.
You know, but I will never comment personally on anything that people are talking about.
Yeah.
Because I'll read comments, but
it's just a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. Why? If you really want to make a difference and you want to make change or something, get involved in an organization, a legitimate organization that's trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
And changing the world and changing something you're passionate about. But getting online and just making comments about something and attacking another person or attacking a bot that's nothing
Not even
real,
a real person.
That's not even a real person is not change.
No.
It's not change. And
you're never going to change someone's mind or teach them anything by telling them to shut the F up and calling them names. It'll never work.
Never.
It's never worked. Like,
it will never change anybody's mind.
no.
And all it's going to do is... And the thing, too, that's really scary about whenever people do that is all they have to do is Google you.
Yeah.
You never know, because sometimes people use their real names on social media, like this fool over here. But and then most people do. But I mean, you can, some people do, and I mean, people Google you, and all your information's online.
Yeah, all of it,
and people can find you.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of crazy.
I mean, think about that too. So
yeah. And that happens all the time. Especially like in situations like this when people are like vehemently, is that the word? Vehemently, like disagreeing about something.
Yeah.
Like people will dox people will leak people's addresses.
They do. Yeah.
I mean, people will do crazy things to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I know where you live. And they're not lying when they say that. They know where you live. So yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like people get their feelings hurt and then they get mad and then they respond. And it's like, sometimes people have to take a step back and be like, man, is this really worth it? No, it's not. It's really not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't even care. But this is just, it was very, very tragic. And there's going to be probably a lot more things like this that happen, unfortunately. Like I said, they happen all the time. We just don't hear about them.
Yeah.
We don't. They don't cover all of them. And
No,
it
not
seems
at
like
all.
they cover them whenever it's two separate races.
Especially a black person and a white person.
Yeah. That's,
you don't get this kind of thing when a black person kills another black person.
No.
It's like nobody cares about it then.
No. Mm-mm.
They
They really don't. Or you'll hear about it whenever, even if it's the same race, you'll hear about it if a child dies.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It has to be something that's very sensationalized.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see whenever. That's why I don't listen to the news a lot. It has. I know I should just to stay informed. I do enough just to stay informed. As you know, I don't listen to MSNBC anymore as much as I used to. I kind of I listen to the Midas Touch podcast. Of course, it's more of a liberal podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I do. But they don't they actually play the stuff that they're saying. They're not kind of like fluffing it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's how I get a lot of my news, or I'll do NPR or something like that. But that's about it. I don't really watch it like I used to, just because it's all bad.
Yeah.
And
And the thing is, people
I just don't want to deal with it.
And
It's
people don't want the truth. People just want to be right.
I agree with that. Yes.
Instead of trying to get to the fact of the matter and having like a respectful discourse on things, it's like, no, people they choose which side of the line they're on, and they don't care what the facts are or what the truth is. They just want to be right.
I agree with that. Yes. Hey, I listen to Fox News too.
Yeah.
I do. I can only stand it for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But you should. But
I try to really listen, and I actually will listen to our president. I'll listen to things he says, and I'm like, okay, sometimes that makes sense, but you're still kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I try to listen to everything, and I'm like, even whatever it is, even if it's political, even if it's whatever, I try to listen and to be objective.
Mm-hmm.
And not subjective, and just think, oh, I have to be right about this.
Yeah.
No, because sometimes when I think I'm right, I'm really, really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't have to be right, but I think you are right um in that way of thinking that people, they don't want to learn.
Yeah.
They just want what's in their mind to be right.
And they
Yeah.
want their team to win.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, but people really should try to develop just a nuanced perspective on things instead of seeing everything in black and white.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
like nothing. The world isn't black and white
It's not.
at all.
No, it's not.
You know,
I've been saying that for a long time.
like I think it's part of it is people don't want to critically think about things. It's like critical thinking today is like at an all-time low. You know?
Well, no, they don't want to. They just want to be on their phone and just be like, give me the answer
Yeah.
right now.
Oh, this is the answer? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. You ever notice when you pull up Google, the first thing that comes up is that AI on there?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if a lot of people scroll past that. They just take it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People take information for what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know unless you're a researcher and you really want to know. Thank God for researchers. But you should really want to know a lot more.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people out there that do dig in and they want to know a lot more. But then there's people out there that really don't.
Yeah.
They are just like, okay, that's what that is. Okay, I believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Or I read that. That's what it says, and they don't read any further. Like I remember a time when we had to actually research and read and study. That's the generation I come from.
Yeah.
Like we had to learn and highlight. You notice I still highlight things. Like I come from the highlighting age.
Yeah.
Where we had a desk that had 3 or 4 books that would be open. And we had to look at one book and then you had to go over here and you had to study in another book. I mean, that's how we learned. And this generation don't learn like that. And I get the advances in technology, but yeah.
Well, it's easier to learn today than it was then, and it's easier to look at things from other perspectives too, because you have all the information of the world at your fingertips. You know.
You do. Yeah. I think sometimes
back in the day, like you were relegated. Is that a word? Is it relegated or delegated?
I don't know.
What am I trying to say?
I don't know what you're trying to say. Well, if I know what you're trying to say, I can figure out the word.
I'm saying like you really today you see people from all around the world.
Yes.
Doing different things. You're exposed to way more ideas today through the internet than ever before.
Very true.
Whereas before that, you were just relegated, I think, to where you were.
Yes. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you were only learning from what was like around you, actually. Yeah, you could watch TV and watch the news or whatever, but I'm saying, but today you have access to people from all around the world that are all sharing different ideas, whereas we didn't have that before.
No, you're right. Well, that's where, that was before the World Wide Web. That was before the internet. That was, once we got the internet, then it was different. We were able to connect and just see a lot more and learn a lot more, right?
Relegate. Cosign or dismiss to an inferior ranker. Oh, that's not what I was trying to say.
I don't think so. See, this is why it's important for you to have a dictionary and an encyclopedia, at least those 2 things in your home. So, I don't think so, but okay. Okay, sure, if that's the word. But I think sometimes, even if it's easier, sometimes learning easier is not always the best way to learn. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes learning easy is not always the best way to learn. Sometimes you got to take the longer route. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That is what I was meaning to say, actually.
Okay.
Because relegate is to consign or dismiss to an inferior rank or position. So I would say the way you had to learn back then was inferior to today.
Yeah. Well, it was limited.
Yeah, it was limited. It was a lot more limited.
It was limited. We have, but that's what we needed at the time. Until but you always, we progressed over the years, and then when you added in the internet and things like that, it opened up more spaces for people to learn, and you had more access, right? But sometimes, like I said, even though learning can be easy in certain circumstances, that's not the best way to learn. You need to take a longer route because you need to research certain things. It all depends, right? And this is where, this is kind of where, like, I had to learn this skill being a college student and working towards my master's, which eventually I probably will go back and finish because I don't have very much left to do. But, there comes a point where, you have to study. Like in that program, you have to study. I can't just get on the internet and just study like that. I have to have the books. You can study online and go through all these websites and stuff, but sometimes I don't want to do that. I want a book to actually highlight and read and take notes. Like I like that old school way of studying because if I'm a visual learner, sometimes I'm a visual learner. Like I have to look and highlight and take notes. And sometimes that's the best way for me to do it. If I'm looking at a screen all day to try to do that, it gets to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. After a while, that's just. And for you grew up on a computer. You grew up in a different age.
Yeah.
And so for you, that's the best. That's the only way you know how to learn.
That's not true.
I know.
The only way I know how to learn.
But you
not that young.
But you grew. You're 24. You're pretty young.
I know. I'm saying, but I remember a time before computers.
Tristan.
Before it was like super common.
You grew up on the internet.
No, I didn't. Well, I guess, but
you grew up in the internet age, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
I'm saying I still had to use books and
you still had to use books, but whenever you got to high school, all you guys had were computers to learn on. That's how you guys did your homework. That's how you guys submitted assignments.
That's what we did our work on, yeah.
Yeah, you guys did your work on computers. Just saying.
Yeah, for sure.
He acts like he had a thesaurus. Do you even know what a thesaurus is?
Of course I used a thesaurus. What are you talking about?
I'm just asking.
What are you talking about? Of course.
So but I'm saying I'm from the card catalog days.
What is that?
See, exactly.
That's a card catalog.
A card catalog is when we had to go to the library and that's how we found our books. That's how we found. It had the name of the book, the number where you had to go and find the book in the library. And
we had that. Well, we had the Dewey Decimal System. Isn't that what? I mean, that's been around since the 1800s. That's how you found a book, right? The Dewey Decimal System. Don't you remember that?
Card catalog.
But that's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different.
What's the? I thought every library used the Dewey Decimal System, don't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm old, dude. All I know is I had to pull out the drawer that had all of the cards in there, and you would pick out the card, and it
would tell you where the book was.
They were alphabetized, and you would whatever you were looking for, and it would tell you the aisle number. It would tell you the number that would be on the book, the title, and the author. It would have all of that.
Oh. Well, yeah, I guess by the time I was in like middle school, you would just do it on the computer.
Yeah.
And it would tell you like if the book was checked out or
yes.
and where it is and everything.
So. Yes. And so if you couldn't find it in the card catalog, then it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because it would have it. And then, so that's how we grew up, and that was the whole system. And so, yeah. And it was a great time to be a kid. I loved the 80s.
Oh,
I loved it. It was amazing.
I bet.
The 80s were great.
Yeah, that's when everyone was doing coke.
Well, I wasn't.
That's when the music. That's when the music was trash. It's when the art.
Oh my gosh!
And the cars were trash. Like
the 80s were the best.
I like some 80s music.
The 80s were the best. I wasn't doing cocaine in the 80s. I was a kid in the 80s, but the 80s were the best time to grow up. Yes, the 80s and the 90s were the best time. Yeah. You guys just don't know what you were missing.
Yeah, sometimes
Well, you weren't even thinking about being born in
sometimes
that.
I do wish I lived I grew up in the 90s.
The 90s were the best.
Yeah,
I was a teenager in the 90s.
It just looks
the best.
yeah, it just looked cool.
Oh, it was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when everything was, that's when Clinton was in office. And
Yeah, it was like the golden age of America.
yeah, that's what Trump is trying to get back to, but it's not going to
We need that.
Yeah.
We need to get back to pre 9/11 America.
Yeah.
That's when the country started going downhill.
Yeah.
Was after 9/11.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't born. I mean, I was born when 9/11 happened, but
You were.
I don't remember
years.
life before that, but I'm just saying it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I know.
It seems
was
like
awesome.
seems like we've been on a decline ever since then.
Since 9/11, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember where I was on 9/11. Like I was home with you and Mom. We were watching it on television. The planes. Mom was like, "Oh my gosh, the plane hit." I remember her saying like I was just getting up and getting you ready that morning, and then and I wasn't working. I was still at home with you, and then but yeah, and you were not quite a year yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't quite a year old yet. And then but yeah, that was just like, oh my gosh. We sat there in the living room and watched it. Watched that second plane hit. I was like, oh my gosh, it's just devastating. I still remember where we were. It's the same thing when people know where they were when Kennedy got shot,
Yeah.
Everybody remembers where they were on 9/11.
Mm-hmm. I remember where I was when Donald Trump almost got assassinated. It was such a hard day.
Don't make me say something. Don't make me say something I'm gonna
I'm sorry. We're gonna wrap this episode up. This is what episode?
I don't know. We were supposed to say it at the beginning, and we just started talking about all.
Yeah, I
these
didn't even
Instagram
say what
followers.
episode it was. Welcome to episode 49.
And we didn't even say welcome to the Tay and Tristan hour.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching the Tay and Tristan hour, episode 49 of the Tay and Tristan hour.
Yes, we're gonna be in episode 50 next week, God willing. So we have to come up with something. I don't know. We'll just be talking about nonsense like we always do.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna try to come up with nothing.
Yeah, that's the magic.
I know. Mom's like, y'all just be talking about nothing. I'm like, I know.
That's what most podcasts do.
I don't even know. I don't even know what most podcasts do.
They talk about nothing a lot of the time. I think we had some substance today.
I think we did too.
Yeah.
I think we did. We do most times.
Yeah.
I think so. We are trying to rebrand this room though. Rebrand or redecorate. Redecorate. I'm gonna get rid of this poster.
Hey, don't stop. That's mine. Don't do that. Don't touch it.
Being confrontational again this week too.
Oh my god. Anyway.
But yes. So you can also see clips of our podcast on my Instagram page.
Say the name of the Instagram page.
It's Shantae B _46.
Yeah, and she's actually 47 and gonna be 48. You need to change that.
I can't.
She's lying. She's lying in her Instagram name.
I'm gonna be 48 in August, so I'm expecting like whenever I turn 50 that you're gonna give me like a huge birthday bash.
Well, maybe we'll see. I would love to.
Just do it.
Oh my goodness.
Like you plan it. I want a beach themed birthday because my birthday's in August. So perfect weather in August. You could do a beach themed. We live by the beach. I want my birthday party on the beach.
Okay. Yeah.
It's free. We can just go to the beach. But I want something out there though. Like just don't take me to the beach. With a cooler.
Why? What's wrong with
a
that?
Cooler.
Yeah, we could do that. Bring a speaker and
I shouldn't have told him that.
A tent and a table and a cake. Yeah.
And all the little kids will be like, "Ooh, I want some cake."
Yeah. We'll have to kick them away.
I want some cake. I have to eat some dinner. I haven't eaten all day.
Yeah, me neither. Well, let's wrap this up then. Come on.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you guys. Oh, and don't forget we also have an Instagram. We have two Instagram. So it's Shantae B _46.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Tay and Tristan _ podcast.
That's right.
Those are our Instagram pages. I'm waiting for the TikTok page.
I know. I was thinking about that before we started. I was like, I completely forgot.
I told you guys. I
Yeah.
told you guys this. Was it last week or the week before that I said Tristan is really, really bad
Yeah.
with getting
I'll get
our
it.
social media pages done.
Yeah. I'll get it done. I'll have to set a reminder to do it. But I'll do it at some point.
I don't know when we're going to have a new TikTok page up. I don't know when.
As soon as I'll get around to it. As soon as I get around to it.
So sometime within the next 3 months.
Yeah. That's safe to say. That's safe to say.
No, at least within the next month.
Yeah.
At least within the next month.
By the end of the month we'll have one. It's the 13th.
So
By the end of the month we'll have one. Can we get out of here? It's hot in here. I'm sweating. It's freaking.
all right. Well, you do the outro.
Well, thank you guys for watching episode 49 of the Tay and Tristan Hour. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Share it. Again, follow us on Instagram on both of our pages. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, I think.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah. I don't know if Amazon, I guess.
Amazon Music. We're still on
Yeah.
Amazon Music. I haven't taken us off of there yet. So
Yeah.
we're still there.
Yeah. So, we thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys so much.
And we'll see you next week.
All right. Peace.